AWU scandal. But at the time, Julia Gillard was Prime Minister, a powerful figure. And she was on the phone, heavying everybody and indeed threatening them. Glenn Milne lost his job at the Australian. Now, where do we stand in relation to the evidence that's been given at that Royal Commission? Michael Smith has rung through. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Alan.
Where do you stand now?
Well, I tell you what, Hedley Thomas put it so well in the Australian newspaper today. He said the evidence in relation to Miss Gillard, Mr Wilson, etc., is like purple dye in a swimming pool. And there's another fellow who writes regularly to me, the former detective sergeant in charge of the detectives at Lakemba. His name is John Duran. He was a distinguished policeman. He put together major briefs of evidence. He's analysed the evidence coming out of the Royal Commission, and he said putting this criminal brief together, it's like tracking a bleeding elephant in a snowfield. It is so crystal clear. The evidence presented yesterday from a range of people who are not connected with each other, an 84-year-old retired builder with impeccable records and a memory of seeing Mr Wilson, the corrupt union official, handing cash to Ms Gillard to pay for her renovations. His evidence was just crystal clear, as was Wayne Hem. Mr Hem is an archivist, and sadly for Bruce Wilson, the corrupt union official, and Ms Gillard, Mr Wilson selected a man with a Rain Man-like memory to run his naughty errands. Yesterday, Mr Hem gave compelling and unshakable evidence to the Royal Commission on oath about seeing money changing hands and attending at Miss Gillard's house for the purpose of delivering money to pay for work that had been done to her own premises. Where it leaves us then, Alan, is with a very clear case that requires an answer from both Mr Wilson and Ms Gillard.
What about Mr Shorten?
Mr Wilson will be in the box today, and
Mr Shorten?
Mr Shorten has a hell of a case to answer as well. Yesterday, Bob Kernahan, the former AWU president, gave evidence about Mr Wilson being his protege, about Mr Shorten being his protege, and participating actively in the cover-up of what Ms Gillard and Mr Wilson had done. They tried to sweep it under the carpet.
Shorten told Kernahan, quote, or according to the evidence, Bob, think of your future. If you pursue this, a lot of good people will get hurt and you'll be on your own. Look, Bob, you've been lined up to take a safe Labor seat of Milton at the in the Victorian Parliament.
Yeah, I've seen the letter where Mr Kernahan was pre-selected. It's to Jenny Beecham, the State Secretary of the ALP at the time. It starts, Dear Comrade, this motion has been moved unanimously at the Milton branch, and that is that Mr Kernahan goes into the Parliament, get his future laid down for him. And instead of pursuing that parliamentary career, a safe seat with a pension, etc., he said, no, I'm going to not stand by and see this dreadful wrong just go unpunished. He stuck up for the workers and against the crooks like Mr Wilson, and he is getting his day in the sun now. I'll tell you what, to see Bob Kernahan...
He said his office was trashed. He received shoulder and elbow charges in the corridor, hate mail, including a matchbox full of bullets. He told the Commission he was assaulted after he spoke to the press. He was knocked to the ground, kicked and told, stop talking to the press, you grub.
Concussed, he thought he had a fractured skull after that bashing in the street. I tell you what, I get a bit emotional for him because he is such an honest, lovely man. He's well known now to my family.
Well, you were all rubbed out. You were rubbed out. Simple as that, because you believed this was a story. Technically, Julia Gillard may be able to argue that she did pay it out of her bank account. The question now is, who put the money into the bank account and where did it come from?
And she set up the slush fund in circumstances where she knew she was appropriating the AWU's name for an unlawful purpose. And that was brought to her attention in an objection by the WA Corporate Affairs Commissioner, to which she countered, vouching for the bona fides of something that could not have had any bona fides at all about it. She'll get a day in the Commission, I'm sure, Alan.
Well, we'll keep in touch with you, and feel free to ring through this time tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Alan. Lovely to chat with you. Thank you for your coverage.
Not at all. Very courageous man, and his stance has been validated. Michael Smith.